fatherhood is an absolute trip, obviously, but I wonder, not many of us, had anywhere near the kind of childhood that you did,
Mm.
with all of its ups and downs. So I wonder, do you think your life experiences have changed how you look at, raising your own kids?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm lucky that I there's not too much about what my parents brought me up that I would change. I mean, there's probably little things, because we all learn, and they came from, had a certain upbringing and had to learn from that. But fundamentally, I approach it the same. I'm really happy with that there were always anchors of love. There was a nice healthy balance of uh like, I suppose it's funny. It's a bit of a prickly word at the moment, but I'm going to use it proudly. Discipline,
Mm.
discipline, but rooted in love. And there was a nice healthy balance of play as well. And I mean, there's lots of different qualities, obviously, and things that made up the philosophies that are my parents' parenting philosophies. I would say the stuff that I didn't learn that I learned later in life is probably more around mental health, my mental health sort of challenges that I went through. So, as much as what my parents always embraced, encouraged to talk about feelings and expression and all that, I think they were still kind of learning how to deal with their own emotions and their own thoughts, and how they all come together to create a sort of an experience, and how they affect your experience and your perceptions and your beliefs. And I mean, they were, I think my mum was 21 when she had me, so very young. Um, so me learning those lessons later in life are already things that I can teach my kids, and it's very much needed. So
You went through you went through leukemia as a kid. What do you think impact do you think that the battles that you undertook with your physical health maybe translated to your mental health?
yeah, it's funny. I've tried really hard to, and also even brought that conversation up with my psychologist. And I think maybe on a subconscious level, uh, it probably showed me how deep and dark life can be. So it meant that later in life, almost like a mini post-traumatic stress pattern, I found myself reacting to fairly normal life experience challenges with the enormity and the epicness, as if I was in the waiting room,
Mm.
about to get operated on. And I'm talking on a really subconscious level. I felt like on the overall, my life experiences managed to package up those you know experiences with leukemia, um, in my memory bank in a really healthy way. Didn't really It didn't really affect my perception of the world moving forward in an adverse way.
Mm.
If not, it more just kind of made me feel just more grateful and more hungry to live. But I think there is still something there when it comes to just general physical and emotional reaction that I've had to work on. A couple of times, it has been helpful for me to remind myself, even though it sounds silly, that I'm not in a waiting room.
Mm.
I'm not battling leukemia here. These are small little details. There's nothing serious going on here. And just even saying that helps for the nervous system and everything sort of calm right down. Yeah.
Would you the the impression that I get is that your experiences with child stardom were perhaps a lot more positive, or at least a lot, shall we say, less harmful than we've seen it with some people. But I
Mm.
wonder, I don't know, if tomorrow one of your kids turns out to just have this absolute, like
Yeah.
mind-blowing, world
Yeah.
recognized talent, would you let them go down the same kind of pathway
It's
that you
I'd
did?
have to. I'd have to. I mean, I'd be pretty terrified, because of the challenges that I had to face, and even just even little things like, do you really want a career in music? Because it's that, it's do you, but I also believe that you you have to nurture and you have to support what if your kid has a real natural passion for something, you got to support that. You got to encourage that. I think it's a beautiful it's served me in so many ways. Like it served me right through when I was having leukemia. It served me throughout my teenage years. It's kept me anchored. It gave me a channel of expression to help me digest my emotions. It's brought joy to people's lives. It's brought joy to my life. And it all comes with challenges, and that's life. But whatever it is that they want to do, as far as like where it's placed in their life, is probably, I feel like there seems to be this default that if you love something, you've got a passion for something, you have to the goal is then you have to turn it into a full-time career. I don't believe that at all.
Mm.
I think that's where, yeah, that's where problems can happen as well. Sometimes and for a long time for me, I had a day job and it made sense at that particular time. Day job, and this is what I did around it until eventually it just kind of it balanced out in a different direction.
I feel that that's a really good message because there's this message going around that shits me to tears that you have to monetize all of your hobbies. Oh, do it and get and sell it. Why?
No,
Just enjoy
no,
life.
yeah, I feel like maybe that works, but in order for you to see whether it truly works, you gotta step back and look at your life on the overall. Like, say, I look at my dad, right? Happy as, so happy. He's a bricklayer. He lays
Mm,
bricks. His passion is definitely not bricks, right?
mm,
But it's how his life has been constructed on the overall. He wakes up in the morning an hour earlier. He plays his guitar because that's his passion. He loves that, but he's happy with it being a hobby. He's accepted that, and he gets to play guitar, and that's all he wants. He lays bricks. It keeps him physically fit, and he's under the sun. It makes him money to provide a certain type of life, you know, to enjoy things on the overall. He's home by 4 o'clock in the afternoon and can spend all of that time, and over the years with us kids, we did martial arts together. That's what you do on the overall. And so when you're making that decision, yeah, I think it really pays to just step back. Yeah, that whole idea of monetizing everything that you love is also can be a quick way of destroying what you love.
mm. Yeah.
you the amount of times that I've thought, I wonder if I'd love music more if it wasn't my full-time career. I've thought that, genuinely thought that. And yeah.
There's one topic, mate, that we cannot avoid. We cannot escape. You worked
Yep.
with the greatest human who has ever existed in any
Mm.
galaxy ever. Tell me about David Hasselhoff.
Oh, mate. I I I do not know how that came about. I was in a episode of Baywatch, but it was the spin-off. It was Baywatch Night, so it's like the concept was what do the lifeguards do when they're not saving lives in the water? They're solving crimes, right? Of course. And and what a spirit, that guy. Like it all makes sense. His successes all make sense. And I don't know how I found myself acting in an episode as a feature role. And I even when I was filming it, there was a scene where I'm, crying on the deathbed of my guardian, and David Hasselhoff is patting me on the shoulder, going, "It's okay, it's okay." And I'd look up at him while I'm trying to be in this, all teary and stuff, and go, and I couldn't help the voices in my head are going, "What? You're fucking David Hasselhoff. What the hell? Like, how are you there? How am I here? How is this happening? This is bizarre." And yeah, it was just a mad little trip.